What's going on, everyone? I am here at a true privilege of the Secretary of War's office. Enough about me, though. You don't care anything about me for this. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Secretary of War.
What's going on, brother?
Pete Hegseth.
Good to see you.
Good to see you
Welcome.
again. Yeah,
absolutely. Great to see you.
It's good to be back in the office under little different circumstances this time. It's the first time we've actually been in the same room since Secretary of War.
That's right.
Became official. Did you know it was happening, or was it one of those President Trump's like, maybe it's going to happen, maybe it's not going to happen? Did he throw you for a loop when he officially did it?
It was sort of a little bit of all of the above.
Oh, okay.
I wrote about, in my book, The War on Warriors, I wrote a paragraph, hey, we should change the name back to the Department of War.
Department of War.
But I don't think that's what spurred it for President Trump. He had it in his own mind. I don't know when it got implanted, but both of us, the minute he said it, I was like, oh, yeah, let's.
Yeah,
and then it was just a matter of how do you do it, what's the best way to make it happen.
Yeah.
And it felt like, now felt like the right time. We got some good lawyers that got us to yes. I think we'll get to the point where Capitol Hill codifies it officially and makes it what it should be, the War Department.
Should be.
It has the right ring to it. We're reviving the warrior ethos inside the War Department.
Right.
It also clarifies so much. I love what the name means as far as, hey, if you're going to go to war, it better be clear and decisive.
Right.
That's the way we want to look at it too. So all of it added up nicely. And so it was one of those moments where the president mentioned it, and as he said, I jumped to it, and we're off to the races.
I love it. So I had the privilege of being full-time here 1 week almost after you and so many others were here on day one. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you have accomplished so many things. Your team is amazing. I am partial to the public affairs office myself,
You should be.
But you've
great.
done so many amazing things. What would you say was the biggest hurdle in the beginning, and what are you most proud of where you guys are right now?
Well, I'm grateful to every person, yourself included, who jumped in 2 feet all the way, ready to go. That's what you need, right? Just great Americans who love the country, who love the military, and are willing to say, we looked at each other and said this a few times. We have a generational moment here, an opportunity to fix this military that we love.
Right.
And so we're just going to jump in, we're going to roll up our sleeves and go from minute one. And we're going to follow the directives of the commander-in-chief. He sets the tone. And then from there, with his commander intent, we're just going to run. I think the biggest, and I mentioned this in the speech a couple of weeks ago, the biggest difference is having a real good understanding of the human terrain. I mentioned personnel as policy.
Right.
And I think getting your arms around not just how the building operates, but who the key nodes are, who the key people are, and then ensuring folks who reflect the president's intent are in those positions, and then you can really drive change. Otherwise, you're sort of trying to quarterback it all from one office or from the DOW,
right.
Which is just too big to do that. So I think we've had the time to bring in the people to get a sense of how it all comes together, which means now you've got key people in key places. Because it's not about firing people for firing's sake. I take no joy in that.
Right, of course.
It's about honoring the careers of people who maybe it's time for them to move on.
Yeah.
Put somebody else in place who really recognizes what we're trying to do and the ethos we're trying to instill, and then letting them run.
Right.
And that was the point of the speech too. Go run with this new guidance.
So the speech, I'm glad you brought that up. So I thought it was a historic moment. I really do. I watched it. You did an amazing job. I think I texted you right after and said it was a truly historic moment. I think the world panicked for a minute. You're bringing in all the top brass, everything. Everybody's wondering what in the world is going on. And you really delivered this moment that it was historic, but in some points it shouldn't have felt historic because it's common sense things that you put out there. Hey, our military is going to be the best military in the world. It is, but we're going to get even better because you can always improve. Hey, we're done with this fat general stuff. We're done with these fat troops. We're done with all this. If you can't do a pull-up, go somewhere else. I saw the governor, Pritzker, saying something to you just the other day. And then you basically put this thing out. It's like, hey, this is your moment. You've got almost a free pass per se. If you're not on board with us bringing the military and giving it back to the warfighter, if you're not on board for the American people believing in their military and knowing that if God forbid anything happens, we've got it and we will dominate. What led to that? What's the reception you've gotten since then? Any pushback? How did all that come to do?
Well, the naming of the War Department was one of the things that led to it. There was also, I had a sense of some speeches I wanted to give. We have future ones on acquisitions reform and policy and others. But it felt like, okay, no, the first thing we need to do is talk about who we are and what we represent. And now that we're the War Department and we'd been driving the warrior ethos, and I brought a lot of folks together, and one of which at PA, Sean Parnell and others sort of suggested, hey, why don't we think about doing something like this? And so when we first thought of the idea of a speech, I said, okay, so when's the last time this was done? Like, everyone's like, it's not been done. I'm like, what do you mean it's not been done? They're like, because let's just bring in the generals and senior enlisted.
Right.
You know, don't interrupt operations at all. So if you've got something going on, send your deputy or whatever. We don't want to disrupt how things are going on, but we'd like senior leaders to come in. And they're like, it's not been done, sir. I'm like, well, let's do it.
Yeah.
I think we're at a moment where the troops, the leaders, should hear from the secretary about commander's intent.
Absolutely.
Here's where we're going. Here's why we're going there. No, this can't be accomplished over an email, or we've all been on Zoom calls that are underwhelming. Mm-hmm. This is a moment to all be in person together to talk about where we want to go. And, you know, folks have wanted to criticize, why are you talking about PT standards? Or the idea, I said it briefly in the speech, but when you see it, you understand it. It's like the broken windows theory of policing. If you don't police the small stuff, then pretty soon it manifests into bigger problems inside our formations. So no, it's not my job to tell folks to, I mean, you don't have to shave, but folks to shave or to be fit. But I want to empower NCOs and senior NCOs and command cultures to do that, which has a ripple effect throughout.
Absolutely.
That we're more ready, we're more prepared, we're more disciplined as a force, which is what we need on the battlefield. So there were some tactical things that have operational and strategic implications. And it was, I wasn't shooting for something historic or just trying to say we're reestablishing who we are. We're not the woke department anymore. We're not the defense department anymore. We're the War Department.
Absolutely.
And that's why I said, if this doesn't make you feel good, you can resign.
Absolutely.
But I followed that with a line that I have a sense that the vast majority of the men and women out in this audience, this makes your heart full.
Yeah.
And you're going to be excited. Mm-hmm. So take this Liberation Day and go forth. Stop walking on eggshells. We're empowering you. Here's the new policy to reform the IG process that's been weaponized. And I think the real secret sauce to the speech was not the words, but the 10 directives that landed in the inbox of every commander while the speech was going on.
Right, exactly.
Which said, okay, here's the tasks or the ways in which you're now empowered. And in that sense, we're seeing the ripple effects time and time again of that speech.
Right. No, I think it's great. It was a historic moment. Real quick, I know your time is valuable. We're at 1 month since the assassination of our friend Charlie Kirk. I want to get two thoughts from you closing out. One, your thoughts 1 month out from that. And two, you get a lot of criticism for bringing your faith back into this role, which I think is insanity. Just talk to us a little bit real quick, your thoughts about Charlie 1 month since, and then why do you feel it's so important to bring your faith back into this position?
Well, like you, sometimes it still doesn't feel real, right? You see videos and things that are still played, and you go, oh man, can't. But isn't Charlie the perfect example of someone who brought his faith into the public square and did it boldly, unapologetically, in a way that met people where they're at? It wasn't preachy. It was simply saying, you want to really be set free? The gospel sets you free, not a policy from the government. And so our job here is to ensure that we are ready to deter and, if necessary, win our nation's wars. We know that. But a huge part of readiness is spiritual readiness as well. This is a department, this is a job that has long appealed to heaven. On bended knee, that guy right there said a few prayers before he set out to try to establish a new nation. We were founded with that understanding that our rights come from a creator. And so not only should we hide it, we shouldn't be ashamed of it. We should speak boldly about it. We should speak openly about it. That's why we do a monthly Christian worship service. That's why, wherever we can, we invoke the name of God, we invoke the name of Jesus Christ, and we want that spoken and talked about inside our formations. We want our chaplains empowered. Because what we're doing here is yes, in an earthly sense, incredibly consequential, but there's also a spiritual battlefield. And there's our own, eternity and our own souls. And I know, as I reckon with this job in this place, that you've been in here, the decisions we make on a daily basis, impossible to do it as a human being alone.
Right.
But knowing that I'm serving God, obedient to His word, it humbles everybody. This job humbles you no matter what.
Right.
But humble to understand that He's got a plan, and God's out there, and it's not me. And if I pray and appeal to Him, hopefully His wisdom can be imparted on us on a daily basis to try to do right by this great American republic that we've been gifted. So Charlie set that example. He did it every single day. We miss him more every day, almost, when you see the void of his incredible talents. But may we live worthy of his martyrdom. And we've gotten some criticism for clamping down on folks that celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk at the Defense Department. Forget that. Who cares? It's not about. I mean, yes, Charlie Kirk was a beloved friend of ours, but no one in uniform should ever be celebrating the death
of an
American citizen.
Absolutely.
That's the standard. It's an easy standard. The press will never report that. They're never going to be honest about our motives, and that's fine. That's why I like talking. Why we can talk freely about this, because we're not imputing motives from the start. And as a result, I think our force is more healthy when we're not going online criticizing the death of an American. But Charlie was incredible. He changed our lives, and his legacy will live on far beyond us.
That is absolutely true. Mr. Secretary, I know your time is short. Thank you for joining us today, giving us this moment to talk. Common sense leadership, a war fighter leading the war fighters and bringing faith back to the Department of War. I love what you're doing, sir. We've got
well, let me tell you,
always.
to your viewers, I mean, what Graham did for us here was incredible. Did a fantastic job getting us on our feet, getting us out. Now you're out there fighting for us, and you're still involved with us. We are grateful.
Thank you, sir.
Without folks like you, we can't get our message out. And the American people are resonating. Young people are resonating to that. Wait till you see the recruiting numbers in 2026.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
I mean, it'll make it, so the momentum continues. You're a huge part of it, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, that's all we've got. Back to the live show.